This is why you are so successful. You're so successful because of the way that you process things. You really take the time to think through the things that you do before you take action. And I feel like in the past, sometimes you have allowed inaction to make you paralyzed, or like you think through things to the point of not taking action because there's just so many options. So it's like, how do I choose which one is the one for me? But I feel like you've since grown out of this and you take inspired action based on your intuition and also just knowing yourself. I feel like you've gotten to know yourself better and you know what is best for the person that you are being, like who you're becoming. And that has helped you with your analysis paralysis, because now you know the actions that are necessary to align with the person that you know you are. And you're also very successful because of the way that you handle challenges. You are not afraid of a challenge. You head towards your challenges. You don't run away from them. I feel like in the past you might have shied away from challenges because you were unsure if you were going to be able to persevere or prevail, but now you know you are the kind of person who will prevail through all. You know that things that are meant for you will always be for you, and they could never, like something that's for you could never miss you. It could never pass you by. So you know that regardless of the challenges placed on your path towards achieving your goals, they're really, like, every no is a protection measurement. It's not a, like, rejection is protection. So every time something doesn't go as planned, you know that it's still working out for you, because the things that are meant for you will always be for you, and there's infinite possibilities to get where you're going. So if one avenue is closed, like one door closes, a window will open. Like there will always be another way to get where you need to go. And you're also very successful because of the way that you share things. You're not the kind of person who will hoard knowledge or hoard like just lessons. Like you share lessons with people freely. The things that you learn, you choose to tell other people what you've learned. And this isn't to try and tell people, oh, I know the right way and you need to follow my way because that's how you do it. Like, no, you just share what's worked for you and you allow people to do what they do, and you don't hold resentment, or you release resentment that might arise when you take the time to share your ideas with people and they disregard it, or they choose that that's not the path for them. Like, you detach from like your personal experience. You know that the things that have worked for you, they will be like part of your testimony, and you'll be able to tell other people what's worked for you. However, you know that the methods that work for you don't work for others, because not everybody's methods work for you. And you can recognize that. You can recognize that other people have given you advice and you haven't taken it because you found avenues that work better for the type of person you are and for the way that you learn. And I feel like this is something that makes you very successful, because when you're able to share without holding on to, like, you share without expectations. You don't expect people to take your advice into consideration. However, that doesn't stop you from sharing it, because you know that what works for you could work for someone else. So in the slight chance that you do help somebody who is looking for just a new way to do things, you decide it's worth it to share what you've done. And also, you're very successful because of the way that you're so compassionate to yourself. You have compassion for just the way that things unfold for you, because things unfold in ways that you could never predict. And I feel like sometimes it doesn't go as planned. Things can get out of, like say you have a routine, right? And then you plan to do things by this routine. However, something pops up, like there's something that is urgent and like you need to prioritize over your routine. You have compassion for yourself for not being able to fill the routine that you had set for yourself. And I feel like you're the kind of person who really prides themselves on being consistent. You like to show up for yourself and your loved ones in a consistent manner. However, there are going to be times where you're not able to show up in the same way that you usually do, because usually when you show up, you pour from a cup that's overflowing. However, there will be some times where your cup gets depleted and you need to pour into yourself until you are back into the stage of being able to pour from a overflowing cup. So at the times where your cup needs replenishing, you are compassionate with yourself, and you know that even though you're not able to give others the same like attention and care that you would ideally give them from an overflowing cup, you know that the love is still there and that you will get back to that place. And you're just patient with yourself in the times where you need to go into hermit mode and like really experience that time of solitude where you can refresh and come back to equilibrium in order to find your peace, find your center, and just overall have a refreshed mindset. And I also feel like you're successful because of the way that you're able to banter. You have really good banter and flirt skills. Like you flirt with life. Like you're the kind of person who can be, I feel like some people see you as a tease sometimes because you just like are so silly and flirty with the way that you talk, but I feel like that's just the way that you experience the world. You're very playful, you're very like full of joy, full of like laughter, and some people take this banter as like you're flirting with them, but really you just have a personality that's open and warm, and some people can mistake this for flirting if they're used to people being closed off and cold all the time. And also you're successful because of the way you aren't afraid to be seen as a freak. You literally show up authentically and genuinely regardless of the people in the room. And sometimes when you're in a crowd of people who aren't aligned with your energy, they might see the way that you're acting and think that you're being freakish. And it's so imperative in these moments that you continue acting from your authenticity, because regardless if they can see you in your entirety and they can appreciate who you are and the vision that you have of the world and for yourself, regardless if they're able to see that, you continuing to show up as yourself in these moments is why you are so successful, because you don't let the outside influences change who you are. You are internally validated. You're not externally validated. So when people call you freakish or they say that you're strange and weird or that you don't fit in, this rolls off your back because you know yourself, and you know that regardless of any box that people try and place you in, you transcend any box that people try and place you in. You are way too big for a box. Like anyone who cannot see you in your entirety, that doesn't mean that you should shrink to fit within their narrative of who you are. And because you don't shrink, this is why you're so successful, because you continue to show up as the star you are, and you shine your light so bright regardless if it blinds the people in the room. And this is very admirable, and this is what makes you stand out from a crowd. And this also attracts a lot of abundance and opportunities into your life, because people see that you are being who you are, and that just like attracts people in when you're able to show up as yourself and not try and pretend and put on a mask for the world, this is definitely the kind of energy that draws people to individuals. So this is why you're so successful. And also, you're very successful because of the way that you're able to focus. You have great attention to detail. You can really see, like, you are great at pattern recognition. I feel like you can see the way that things are going to go based on how the outcomes have happened in the past. And this isn't to say that things can't change, because not everything is based on past. However, history does repeat itself. So you know this, and you focus on, okay, what are the, like, what's the data say? What is the past, like, predict based on, like, what outcome can I predict based on past data? But you also leave room for open-mindedness. You don't only focus on the data. Like, you use that as a tool, yes. However, you know that being innovative, being creative, being, like, able to just bring something to fruition that hasn't been done before is also a possibility. So you don't rule that out, but you do focus on just the way that things are in an environment and what plausible change would look like. And you're also very successful because of the way that you appreciate all the things that you've been through. You appreciate the life that you've lived so far. You appreciate the ups and the downs. You appreciate the lessons that you've learned, the relationships that you've had and lost, or you just appreciate so much about life. And I just feel like you have a really strong gratitude for life. Like, you're very grateful for all the opportunities, the blessings, the miracles, the people who have come in and out of your life and what they've taught you. And this appreciation for your life circumstances invites in more to appreciate about your life. Like, when you focus on things to appreciate, you start to notice even more things that you appreciate. And you're also very successful because of your your purpose. You're very purpose driven, you're purpose led, and your purpose doesn't have to be this huge, like, goal that you're gonna accomplish based on just, like, something that your childhood self, like, had imagined for yourself. Like, your purpose could be as simple as feeling good. If you choose to have a purpose surrounding feeling good, then you will be so present, because each choice, each moment, you will ask yourself, does this feel good for me? Will this lead me to feel good? And if so, then you've made the right choice. Like, your purpose can be as simple as that. And I feel like all purpose, like, people are always looking for their purpose in life. It's like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? I feel like purpose can also change over time. Like, you can have a purpose for now. You could have a purpose for this chapter in your life. You can have a purpose for this environment that you're a part of. But when you step out of that environment, your purpose might vary or shift or change or grow. Like, I feel like your purpose can expand over time. And this is why you're so successful, because you allow that purpose to be fluid. You aren't so rigid with what you believe is for you. You believe that things can change over time, and things are changing over time, and you are adapting with these changes. And as you adapt, so does your purpose, so does your environment, so does your relationships, your friendships. You just, all the things that you're interested in, they just adapt over time as you grow and you change. And allowing this to happen is what makes you so successful. You don't hold on to things so tightly. Like, and I feel like you're also very successful because you can acknowledge that you miss things, but you don't want them back in your life. Like, say that you're the kind of person who has addictions. You've been through addiction, right? And you miss the substances you're addicted to, or the person you were addicted to, or the things that you were addicted to. Like, if you had a phone addiction and you were just on your phone all the time, 24/7, and then you decide, actually, I'm gonna get a flip phone so that I'm not as addicted to being on my, like, on the internet all the time on my phone. So then you have a flip phone now. Now you could be like, dang, I miss my iPhone. I miss my like screens and my apps and like all that stuff. I miss it so much. However, you know that you're better off without it. And so you know that it's not something that you'll go back to, because you know your life, like, just your life is going smoother without it. Your life is better because you don't have it anymore, and you're able to acknowledge that two things can be two things can be true at the same time. You can miss your iPhone, which you were addicted to, and also not want it back. And I also feel like you're very successful because of how capable you are. You're capable of learning new skills. You're capable of trying new things. You're capable of speaking and like talking about your feelings. You're very capable about expressing yourself and communicating what your needs are. And this is what makes you so successful, because closed mouths don't get fed. You have to be able to speak up for yourself. You have to know how to advocate for yourself. You have to be able to express what it is you want for somebody to give it to you. You can't expect people to read your mind. You cannot expect people to just know what you need without you telling them. And I feel like you're a very capable individual. Like, you're capable of telling people what it is that you need in order to function to the best of your ability in any circumstance. And this is why you're so successful, because some people are unable to speak up for themselves, and therefore they'll just suffer in silence. But you know that suffering is not like something that you have to endure. You know that pain is inevitable. Like, there will be painful moments in this life. However, suffering does not have to be an inevitable part of life. You can definitely like experience pain, talk about it, feel it through, release it, and let it go. Suffering is when you have pain and you just hold it in, and then it festers, and then it builds over time, and it like soaks into your DNA, and then it just like is a trapped emotion within you, and then you just suffer because you have that underlying pain within you that is unaddressed. But you're the kind of person who faces your emotions. You allow them, you talk about them, you write about them, you express them through creativity. You can like create art, or just get into the flow state. You could work out, you could like sing, dance, listen to music, and you just allow the emotions that you are feeling during these activities to move through your body. You don't allow them to get trapped